The other English Nut video that was trolled was the Shashi Tharoor interview, mostly by people who are against his political party. Some of them got personal about him as well, so of course I blocked them. I debuted on social media about a decade ago with Facebook.
That was Sumanto Chattopadhyay, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer, 82.5 Communications for You. And the creative connoisseur is here with us talking about his social media journey and what it takes to be a sensible netizen. On Facebook, he is known as Spantador Oro, and therein lies an intriguing tale. Let's hear it.
I'm known as Spantador Oro on Facebook, and therein lies a tale. At first, I was not keen to be on social media as I did not want to be accessible. But I had joined a capoeira class at that time. Capoeira is the Brazilian martial art. One of its traditions is that the teacher gives you a name based on a characteristic of yours. Because of my long hair and stiff movements, at least initially, I reminded my teacher of a scarecrow. The name Spantador is derived from a word that means scarecrow. Ouro is Portuguese for gold and is taken from the name of the international capoeira organization Cordão de Ouro that our group is a part of. My teacher Reza Massa, whose capoeira name is Baba, told me that I needed to get onto their Facebook group to receive updates about the classes. So that is when I secretly joined Facebook, with the name Spantador Ouro and an illustration of a scarecrow as my profile picture. At least for a year, no one outside the capoeira group knew that Spantador was Sumanto. But then one person found out, and then another, and another. Eventually, I gave up trying to keep it a secret.
For the longest time, Chattopadhyay was only on Facebook, since in the early stages, it was not really a commercial platform. It was just a fun place to connect with our friends. We all agree to it.
For the longest time, I was only on Facebook. In the early stages, it was not really a commercial platform. It was just a fun place to connect with friends. There weren't any ads. There were no controversies over fake news. If people shared interesting posts, they could go viral organically. That's no longer the case.
Very obvious, Facebook was his first love, and over the years he also got onto YouTube, Instagram and Twitter, but was not really active on any of them.
Facebook was my first love. Over the years I also got onto YouTube, Instagram and Twitter, but was not really active on any of them. On YouTube, or Sumanto Tube as I called it, I shared some of my old ads at one point and that was it. By the way, now I'm present as Sumanto Chattopadhyay on all these other platforms except Facebook, where I'm still Spantador. Of course, I got onto WhatsApp because it became the primary texting platform for most of us. Then there were WhatsApp groups for everything, every brand you worked on, your building society, your college friends, the social media addicts anonymous group. Just kidding. The social media app that I got onto last was LinkedIn. Somehow I used to think of it as a dry place not meant for people in a creative field. In fact, I didn't really think of it as a social media platform at all. About a year and a half ago, a friend of mine persuaded me to get onto LinkedIn and I found many like-minded people on it. Now I am a super active LinkedIner.
Talking about social media giving everyone a platform to express their views and opinions, Chattopadhyay is not too far behind. When he feels strongly about something, he expresses his views. He makes his views on social issues clear, but avoids getting into squabbles about them which he thinks is too distasteful.
When I feel strongly about something, I express my views. When something moves me, I share it. I've never really kept any practicalities in mind while doing so. The fact that you can be targeted for expressing views that go against the grain, for example. I try not to get personal with anybody. If people get personal or abusive with me, I usually don't respond in kind. I ignore them or block them. Life is too short to engage with such horrors. I love humor, so if I find something funny, I always share it.
Ever since he started the English Nut, he spends a lot more time on social media to upload his posts to engage with subscribers and followers.
Ever since I started the English Nut, I spend a lot more time on social media to upload my posts, to engage with subscribers and followers. But while doing so, I end up checking my personal handles as well. I've not kept track of how much time I spend on the apps. But I can tell you that a large part of my weekends goes in researching, writing and shooting my videos for the English Nut. I think I spend the most time on YouTube and Facebook, but Instagram may supplant Facebook for second position soon. I'm least active on Twitter both as Sumanto and as the English Nut. The latter has few followers on Twitter and little engagement.
On social media, Chattopadhyay likes stuff that moves him. It could be the arts or puppy dogs, something that educates and gives insights into human beings physically, mentally and culturally.
I like stuff that moves me. It could be the arts or puppy dogs. I like stuff that educates me and gives me insights into human beings, physically, mentally, culturally. YouTube is my learning platform. I watch TED Talks on every conceivable subject from advertising to neuroscience. I'm also a health and fitness fanatic. Most recently, I've been learning the Wim Hof method. Wim Hof is a Dutchman who's known as the Iceman. He tried to climb Mount Everest shirtless, wearing only shorts and sandals. He turned back after getting frostbite at 24,500 feet. He advocates ice baths for health improvement, which I haven't been able to get myself to do. But I have been doing his breathing exercises, which are fantastic for dealing with stress, insomnia and more. What I find amazing is that within a short time of starting this practice, I can hold my breath for 3 minutes at a stretch, which I could never imagine doing before. Instagram is where I look at art. I follow photographers like my friend Rafiq Syed and hashtags related to contemporary art. You get to see some wild stuff. Then I watch stress-busting videos of cuddly dogs, koala bears, lions and other animals.
When it comes to paying attention or responding to trolls on social media, Chattopadhyay does not engage with them.
I do not engage with trolls. They make me despair. Trolls have told me that people like you should leave the country. I wonder what they mean by people like me. I'd like to tell you a little story about my family. My grandfather, Khitish Prasad Chattopadhyay, was a close friend of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's. They went to Presidency College in Calcutta together and then to Cambridge. They both aimed to take the ICS examination but eventually changed their mind as they realized it would be at odds with their ideals. Back in Calcutta, Netaji spearheaded a call for Purna Swaraj or complete independence. He decided to lead a procession to the governor to hand him the resolution on 26 January 1930. The mounted police started beating up Netaji to stop the procession. My grandfather, who was at that time the education officer of the Calcutta Corporation, was the flag bearer at Netaji's side. He was carrying the tricolour with the charkha or spinning wheel at the centre, which was the precursor to independent India's flag. My grandfather, a 6-footer, stood in front of Netaji holding up the flag to shield him from the blows. The police told him to drop the flag. He refused. So they started beating him with their sticks. He fell to the ground and they rode their horses over him. But he wouldn't let go of the flag. I want to point out here that my grandfather was also a Gandhian and believed in non-violence. He sustained injuries to his body and head and later spent 6 months in prison. Years afterwards, when he suffered a stroke to which he ultimately succumbed, the doctors said that a blood clot that had remained lodged in his head from that old injury had moved and caused it. While I can't take credit for my grandfather's bravery, I can certainly say that I was brought up with his principles. So this is the kind of people who are being told by the trolls to leave the country. As the English Nut, I've been trolled by people who do not think English should be promoted in India. They also assume that I'm so anglicized that I do not know my mother tongue properly. I should put up a video in Bengali one day to disprove them. The funny thing is that judging from their writing, these trolls themselves have had an English medium education. One video in particular got trolled on Twitter. It was a link I'd shared from my YouTube channel. It's a video in which I play a double role as both the English Nut and the waiter at a restaurant where the English nut is dining. As the waiter mispronounces the names of the dishes, the English nut gets more and more agitated. The idea was not to make fun of people who mispronounce words, but to teach the right pronunciation in a light-hearted way. And as far as I'm concerned, the waiter was taking the English nut strip, not the other way around. Whatever it is, the trolls found it insulting, yet this was one of the most popular videos on my YouTube channel, so the English learners it was intended for don't seem to be offended by it. The other English nut video that was trolled was the Shashi Tharoor interview, mostly by people who are against his political party. Some of them got personal about him as well, so of course I blocked them. YouTube, as Sumanto because it's my university, as the English Nut because it's the one channel where your 2-year-old video can be considered just as current as a 2-day-old one. I don't believe in bans, but handlers peddling hate, divisiveness or fake news should at least not be given disproportionate prominence. That it's really annoying to be retargeted. Two, Rajkamal Aich and Freddie Birdie, art and copy. Dunzo, Fevicol, Swiggy, Durex, eat, stick, eat, never mind. The English Nut, of course, and it's bye for now.